Why is Ferrari unbeatable in 2022? Welcome to our channel, SuperSports. The Ferrari F175 looked fast from the first day of 2022 Formula 1 testing at Barcelona in February, and that pace has remained through the first 3 race weekends. Indeed, in Australia, the car had a clear edge on the Red Bull RB18 after the 2 front-running machines proved to be evenly matched in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. A lot of Formula 1 preseason testing was spent debating which team had perfected the new 2022 regulations. With new regulations placing emphasis on ground effect, Ferrari turned up with a sculpted side pod concept, raised high on the outer edge but dipping inward towards the center of the car, forming a channel between the floor edge and engine cover. Already in Bahrain during testing, Ferrari was confident it had nailed a solution to the issues teams were facing with bouncing on the straights. The stays attached at the rear of the floor had been the adopted solution up and down the grid, but a revised floor on the F175 appears to have had the desired effect for the Italian team. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz look much more comfortable going down the straights than the Mercedes duo, but the Ferrari hasn't lost the speed it had during the preseason as a result. Being able to run the car lower to the ground to maintain the attachment of air and maximize the downforce produced without the bouncing is a crucial component in producing lap time with these new cars. One of the more intriguing aspects of Ferrari's season so far is that, in contrast to its main rivals, the team has done very little to the car since that first test, and there has been no package of upgrades. There are several aspects to the Ferrari strategy. Firstly, the car was quick from the off and had no obvious vices. Like others, it suffers from porpoising, but the team seems to have found a way to live with it without compromising performance as much as some rivals have been obliged to. Crucially, by not changing the package every week, the team has been able to take a deep dive into fully understanding the car, allowing the engineers to start each race weekend with a good base setup. That in turn has the added bonus of allowing the drivers to fully come to terms with the car and know what it requires from them. Although it's taking Carlos Sainz a little longer to adapt than Charles Leclerc. The bigger picture is that by not having to throw new parts on a short notice in order to find performance, Ferrari has been able to pace itself in terms of R&D. The team can focus on honing new items that it knows will work when they come to the track, rather than fast-track through the stuff that hasn't been fully proven as a firefighting exercise. In an era where the budget cap puts a limit on how much you can do over the course of a full season, that's a crucial advantage. Luckily, the car is good from the beginning, says chassis operation manager Claudio Albertini. So it's something that is good news for us, because then we can focus on good development. With these new regulations, it's a different approach compared to the past. Because with a budget cap, actually we have to be very careful, because every development that is not working is also a waste of money. In addition to not giving performance to the car, the conditions are very different from the past. We have to work in a different way, but for sure in our line there are future developments. Also, because this philosophy of the car is very new, there are many things that we are still investigating and want to prove. In essence, Ferrari has been able to hold back on new parts because the car was good from the off, with sufficient pace to win races. Luckily, we met the expectations, says Albertini. So in a way, you see that the car has potential. And so as I said, we could spot from the beginning of the project the parts of the car that were more performing and focus on them. We now understand that our first idea was good because the important parts are in good shape and we're going in that direction. We're still following the base plan that we had since last year. Ferrari did bring a different floor to Melbourne, but as was planned, it was run by Leclerc only on Friday, before he reverted to the normal spec for the rest of the weekend. It was purely a data-gathering exercise that will feed into more permanent changes later in the season, and was a good example of the team making efficient use of a Friday practice session. We had a packer in the diffuser, says Albertini. Actually, it's a part that changed the shape of the floor. It was a test item. We knew from the beginning that it would not be in the car for the qualifying and race. And it's normal nowadays, with less real testing of the car, that you use Friday for this development. In Jeddah, the Ferrari was bouncing visibly more than the Red Bull, but it was still able to maintain good speed around the fast sweeps. When the Ferrari does experience bouncing, it looks much more capable of dealing with the phenomenon and maintaining performance versus Mercedes. This allows Ferrari to run the F175 lower to the ground and generate downforce without losing time, having to raise rear ride heights or move away from its high levels of wing to compensate. It makes sense that Ferrari has addressed the issue quicker than either Red Bull or Mercedes. The Scuderia has more wind tunnel and CAD design time than its rivals by virtue of its finishing position in the championship last year. The team is very conscious of not squandering this advantage in the early phase of the season. In car design, we have improved our wind tunnel, technologies, processes, and simulations, and so today, we are much better than in the past to do a good job with development. Ferrari team boss Mattia Binotto said ahead of Australia, "We also have a budget cap which will affect the rate of development. We need to make sure we have the right policy on that, as it could be a game changer in the fight for development." That's the real reason behind Ferrari's dominance in 2022. Looks like Ferrari learned a lot from the past few years, and which is why they are looking confident in the beginning of this season. Mercedes is clearly having a nightmare, which can be seen in the constructors' points table, but we hope for the best. So that was all. Before leaving, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for F1 news and gossip.